DESIblitz.com.
My name is Marcus du Sautoy. I'm a professor of mathematics at the University of Oxford and the author of The Music of the Primes, The Creativity Code and Thinking Better, amongst other books. And you're watching me on DESIblitz.com. There's so much kind of stories which connect to India. So, for example, at GLF London, I've been talking about prime numbers. And prime numbers are very important in the way a musician will do rhythms. For example, the complex rhythms of a tabla player are actually using interesting properties of prime numbers to create their complexity. And of course, one of the most important numbers in the history of my subject was discovered, created in India, which is the number 0. And that was a deeply revolutionary idea. A number for nothing. But that came out of the idea of the Indian philosophy, the idea of sunyata. The void is not just nothing, it's the possibility of something. So India plays an important role in my subject of mathematics. Numbers have always been fundamental to us as a species because it can determine whether we're going to fight or fly. If there are more of them than there are of us, we need to make the decision to fly rather than to fight. So in a way, numbers have always been important to our evolution. But of course, my books in a way are telling the stories of what have we discovered about these numbers. And one of the most important numbers are these indivisible numbers, prime numbers. And we've understood they're kind of the building blocks of all numbers. But trying to understand these numbers has taken us on an extraordinary 2,000-year saga, which is still unfinished. We still don't completely understand these numbers. So people might think that we know everything about numbers, but that's far from true. It's interesting that actually, our decimal numbers that we use, 0, 1 through 3, all the way up to 9, originated in India. The way that we write our numbers, they were brought to Europe through the trade routes. But of course, in our modern age, we have a different way of writing numbers, which is not to go base 10, but to go base 2. So we just have 0 and 1, which is great for a computer because that's kind of off and on. So actually, much of our modern world is written in numerical form, digital form. The pictures we post on Instagram, the music we listen to on Spotify is actually all a sequence of zeros and ones which encode the wonderful, complex ideas that humanity has come up with. Many people are actually very dismissive of numerology because it's a bit like horoscopes and, surely there can't be anything to this. But I think it actually captures the spirit of being a scientist, which is I'm looking at all of this kind of mess of the world around me and I'm trying to make some sense of it. Now, often numerology comes up with some kind of silly, strange things which when tested don't stand up to scientific kind of scrutiny. But I think the mindset of the numerologist is somebody who is trying to find structure and order in the chaos around us. And that actually is the spirit of being a scientist. But it needs to be matched with the critical side of being a scientist, where you try and doubt the thing, examine it, prove why it's wrong. And if you can't do that, then it goes forward as an interesting new idea. So my favorite number is actually the number 17, which I'm wearing. 17 is my favorite number. It's the number I play for in my football team. It's a prime number, an indivisible number. It has lots of interesting properties. And I think it's somehow, when you're a football player, you identify very strongly with your number. And I feel it's really my number.